Hello everyone, it's James from Keeping It Anime, and today we're talking episode 7 of We Never Learn, the anime series. Also entitled, A Former Tutor's Secret Spot is X. This episode primarily focuses on Fumino and Mrs Kirisu. And it does alternate between the two characters. So, we start off with the classic misunderstanding comedy that comes with this show. In having Fumino thinking that Rizu is mad at her because she thinks that Rizu saw her and Yuiga hugging it out behind the school. So in an effort to please Rizu, Fumino tries her hardest to force a hug between Yuiga and Rizu, which leads to Yuiga being labelled a perv, and Fumino being labelled as I did it. In this turn of events, it turns out that Rizu was only mad because her dad broke her favourite pair of glasses that morning. Which means she wasn't really angry, she was just straining her eyes to kind of see what was happening. So basically, when she met Fumino and Yuiga at the start, she didn't know it was them. She was kind of going, oh, it's you two, I can just about see you. Now the visuals and facial expressions really did make this comedic part of the episode that much more enjoyable. Obviously with this show, it's all about the faces and expressions when it comes to the comedy, and it really did deliver in this section of that episode. So then we move to some more insight and development into the character of Miss Kirisu, as she sprains her ankle while trying to save a cat. This does reinforce her caring nature that we saw in the previous episode, where we found out that she was looking for Rizu out in the rain when Yuiga found her. So we go to her apartment, and we get a mixture of good comedy and information regarding Miss Kirisu's character. So it turns out her apartment is a pigsty. And it's covered in trash, unwashed dishes and pans, clothes are everywhere, and poor Yuiga has to sit amongst all this while he studies. And fair play to the lad, he studies for 2 hours in this mess. Miss Kirisu is helping him obviously because he helped her get out the sticky situation when she fell over with her ankle and buried herself in trash. Okay, cool. So it's also worth noting that she's very different outside of school than when she's inside. Her image goes from being smart and sophisticated to a tracksuit wearing lazy person that doesn't clean up after herself. So there's definitely two parallels to her character in which we get to witness in this episode. And you know what? That's not too bad. Finally, Yuiga does snap and he has to clean up this apartment. It's revealed that Miss Kirisu used to be a figure skater. But due to the careers of figure skaters being very short-lived, she turned to teaching. Now, this does open up a few questions to us as the viewer as to, how good was she? Obviously, she was pretty good considering all the trophies that she had. And what was it that made her go into teaching after this? And what the transition was. Was it a nice transition or was it a sort of broken off transition? And was there a real reason as to why she did leave this career to pursue teaching? Now, if you've read the manga, you'll definitely know the reasons, but as an anime point of view, we have no idea at the moment. Okay, so this is where she then reinforces herself as a teacher who guides those with talent and helps them evolve those talent. As we've seen in previous episodes, she likes to teach people that are gifted. For example, she will only teach Fumino to pursue literature and Rizu to pursue maths and science. She won't let them do their own thing because she believes her teaching style doesn't, follow that. And Eureka highlights the fact that they're both parallels, because if she's a teacher who would guide those with talents, then he's a teacher or tutor that would guide those of the non-talented. That's kind of how they did phrase it, so I know it sounds a bit weird, but oh well, they could have done that a little better. But it is true. Eureka is happy to help those who are willing to help themselves. And we've seen that in the series already so far, and so that's quite a nice sort of difference between the two. Now overall, the comedy in this sort of part of the episode was okay, it was fine. We get the odd misinterpreted words and phrases, like Miss Kirisu tells Eureka to get it out, and he's shocked and says, "I've got no money." Those type of comedic kind of one-liners. Yeah, it's not too bad. But this part of the episode was not really meant to be funny. It was meant to give us more of an insight into her character and to develop her characteristics. So it worked in that regard. Now the last part of the episode, we then go back to Fumino. It does evolve around her. And we finally get the introduction, I should say, better word, to Team Wild Roses. So basically, if you look at Tomoko's friend, the two swimmers, they basically help her to get Eureka. So Team Wild Roses are kind of like the cheerleading group for Furuhashi. So basically, after Fumino pins Eureka to a tree, rumours of those two dating arises, and Team Wild Roses stage a mission to see if Eureka is a good enough fit to be Sleeping Beauty's newest boyfriend. Or, I don't know about newest, but yeah. So basically, this is so far-fetched and so weird and wacky that it did make me laugh a little bit, because we see the two studying inside the library like they normally do, and suddenly the library just gets crowded with all of these people, and they're all wearing earpieces to kind of listening and to see what's going on, while Team Wild Roses waits at the classroom with a walkie-talkie. They make it like some sort of like special ops recon mission, and it did give me a laugh. What also did sort of make me laugh as well in this part of the episode was Eureka manages to persuade Furuhashi to study more, which in turn makes everyone spying on them study themselves, because obviously they're in the library, so they thought they might as well. Now, this whole segment was to show Fumino's reactions to these rumours, and to build up the connection/feelings she has towards Eureka, as she states, "How could I love someone who my friends love as well?" She even goes as far as teasing Eureka by saying, "Hey, why don't we just go out?" And then goes, "Just kidding." And then, this does kind of build that connection and relationship to him, which is why, if you have read the manga, Team Wild Roses do make an appearance again in an effort to try and be Fumino's cheerleading squad, to try and push her into Eureka's sort of eye line, if that makes sense. But anyway, all round, the comedy and the character building in this episode was brilliant. The animation was consistently good throughout, and the sound effects were really nice as well, and they worked for the different parts of the show. So, when you have those weird sort of animes where the main character picks up clothing of a female and it goes like, "Wow," or something like that, They have those sort of effects and sort of like clangs and crashes and everything else. The music, it all worked together really nicely and felt like it belonged in the episode in the parts that they did. So overall, I would highly recommend anyone to go and watch this episode. It was a very enjoyable episode, and I did really like it. I don't know if I've got that point across already, but yeah. So, that's going to do it for this review. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new, so you never miss a video from me. And until next time, I hope you'll have an amazing day, and keep it anime. Goodbye!